I'm Brandon Johnson, rhythm guitars.
Anthony, I play vocals.
I'm CJ, I'm a lead guitar player.
Well, we're still talking to labels right now with management, and we're probably, if I have to be realistic, it'd probably be around like mid 2014 maybe that the album will come out, and then probably if we can play some shows before that, we will.
I guess start from left to right.
I guess so.
For me, I think it's honestly recording new material. I mean, obviously, once you have that down and actually jam with the guys recording an album is obviously a great time, but coming up with new songs and just jamming, I mean, CJ and I just, sitting there jamming for hours on end trying to write new stuff to me is definitely the most enjoyable part that I've had so far.
Same here. I love writing new stuff. Playing music is relative live than it is to recording, but it's so fun to do it with the guys in the bands play music. So yeah, same here. But touring is fun too.
I just like being able to express myself musically, and it's just really killer when you get with like a bunch of really good dudes and you see like where it can take you, just it's crazy where music takes you if you put a lot of like effort and heart into it, and you're with a bunch of good dudes. It'll take you places you never imagined you'd ever be. So.
Greece.
There's a lot of places in Europe, like Greece Athens, like all Greece is sick, and Portofino, Italy, like pretty crazy, pretty wild places. Like
the fans in Greece, people that just metal fans in general in Greece, they're crazy. They're rabid fans for it, and always intense shows when I've ever been there. It's awesome. Sometimes, not all the time, because we usually keep a good schedule. It's like, okay, well, he's going to be doing this at this time, so I might be able to do the new song in a week, and then we're pretty good with that with each other,
That's the thing now with, as cliche as it sounds, like technology nowadays just made it so much easier, So, Joe lives in Belgium, so, whenever we come up with a new song and we need to give him an idea what to do, we record it here and we send it, send it through email, so.
Electronic drums rule.
Yeah, exactly.
We're lucky enough, blessed enough to have been able to do stuff with, some more well-known bands, so, I guess it's a little easier for us, I guess, that, we can... kind of make it work a little easier.
Yeah, if you're
opposed
just
to a ground up,
that's it.
Local band.
If you're just starting up, it's really hard to fathom that.
Have the chemistry.
Yeah, because you have to. Me and CJ and Joe have been playing in bands together, and for a few years now. Me and Joe for 6 years, so it's very easy. And we've known Brandon for years. And Zero's, he's the newest guy, but still he's a really seasoned musician, so it's easy for us. I don't know why, it is. Me and CJ met on a tour that we did. We were in separate bands. He was in White Wizard, I was in Night Rage, and we toured together in the U.S. And so he met me and Joe there, and then we were like, "Wow, this dude's cool. He's a funny guy, and he's a really good dude."
Yeah, I was a big fan of Night Rage since they came out. So it was like.
So yeah, we had to find a replacement guitarist for Olof, and for that European tour, and he was the first one that came to mind, just because he was just so into the band and knew the material, and it was really easy to. So yeah, that's how we met those two guys, and then
obviously,
Brandon.
Anthony and I, we met through mutual friends in the area, just kind of touch base and started hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we just kind of started shooting the shit, talking about music, and it just kind of progressed from there.
I never knew he even played guitar, until he showed me the riffs. For years, I didn't know he even played guitar.
Have you been in a band?
I used to jam with a few guys back in the day. It wasn't anything too serious, so this is definitely my first, project that I really delved big into. So once I started showing Anthony a lot of the material that we had, we, decided to put this band together and start, really making something of it. So.
Yeah, it was really interesting with Brandon. He was a really good rhythm player and guitarist. Without having played in too many bands, I was kind of shocked. Damn, how are you writing this shit? And you're writing your own stuff. You're not a cover guy. Industry-wise, it's good one way because the label doesn't have to pay. If of course, if you're lucky enough Nick, our bassist, is a tremendous
He went
producer.
to school for recording.
He went to school for this.
So he knows how to.
He's a Pro
engineer
Tools master,
and stuff
so
like that, so.
he can do this shit. And so we're lucky that sense, you know. And Brandon's learning Pro Tools as well, and so he's been doing a lot of new demos and stuff, and
pre-prototype stuff,
pre-production, so. But it changes the industry in terms of business from the label perspective because they don't have to pay so much for that. But then it kills the really good producers that are out there that need money to maintain their studio. I mean, it's a lot of money to keep the studio up and not just, you know, have vintage mics from 1920. And, you know, you need to upgrade eventually, and you need to make money to do that. So
it's kind of a catch-22 you know, with the band is, you know, we're trying to get out there and put our music out when we haven't, you know, actually released an album yet on a legitimate label. Obviously, we don't have that financial backing to get into a studio, you know, like, you know, with Frederick Nordstrom or, you know, a guy like that that's in the industry. So being able to do that on our own and be able to just record it, but actually hand it off to an engineer to really get that full mix and master just makes it a lot easier.
It kills a lot of birds with one stone, you know, which is a lot of young bands can't do that. You know, they don't have the money to do that. So the only thing we paid for instance, in this record, I think, was the drums. That was it. We had Joe go into a studio in Belgium or in Luxembourg and do the drums, and that was it. The rest of it was all done in my house.
Arizona.
And then we sent the tracks to Daniel Antonsson, who's in Sweden, and he's going to mix and reamp and master it. So it'll be pretty awesome at the end, I think. So. Landmine Marathon, Job for a Cowboy,
Vehemence.
and Vehemence. Yes, Vehemence.
Big Vehemence.
And those are the only like bands that do anything from here. Everything else is like local stuff, which is cool. There's some good local bands, like what is it? Animus Complex. Animus Complex.
I mean, there's really no local scene in like where I live unless like you're a cover band or you play reggae. So I mean, like I mean, like as far as like
South Florida. I mean, that's
as far as Florida goes now. I mean, like. Just my boys in Trivium. Like I used to work for them, and I used to play in a band with their drummer Nick. He's like one of my best friends. And Paulo, all those guys are like family to me. So that's the only.
I mean, in Florida though, you have to think of the Tampa scene, of course.
I live in like a vacation spot, so it's it's like
his spot's a little different.
There's really like no metal, a lot, anything really down there.
Fuck yeah.
I listen to everything. I listen to stuff from like Marduk to Van Halen to
hip hop,
Notorious B.I.G. to Bob Marley. I mean I used to be really like when I was younger I was like only like into metal, but it's like I'm influenced by everything. Like I mean,
you know, the older you get,
every kind of music, if you really dig deep out, like deep into it, and you love music, you'll find something that you can take from that and like, you know, put it into the way you write or do anything. So I love all music.
It's really weird. Like the older you get, and you tour the world or you play music for a living, you realize that this whole metal thing is a big fucking joke, you know. And if you're metal and that's all you do is talk about metal all day, you're full of shit. Like, there's no way somebody can be that one-dimensional, you know. People get older, they grow up, but you still have your favorite things. So we still play metal, we still ride it, we still love performing it, but outside of that, I mean, you have to fucking grow up, you know, and realize that there is more to life than just headbanging all day, you know. So
I mean, obviously my biggest passion would be, you know, metal music, but like I said, I mean, growing up, the reason I ever picked up a guitar was like Stevie Ray Vaughan and blues shit, you know. I grew up with that kind of stuff, you know. So ever since then, it just kind of progressed, and obviously you start getting into different genres of music, but I mean, nowadays I listen to jazz, blues, and stuff like that just to try to get influences from different areas.
Blues-wise, like John Mayer. Like John Mayer, no one knows, but that dude fucking shreds on the blues guitar, man. He fucking
The thing is, like, it's like you kind of have to like listen to different music, because the thing about metal is like so many, like, you know, if you're a new band and you come out like people just say you sound like this band or you sound like that band. Always. Or it's a rip off of this band. It's like so, like, you know, since that's so prominent now, it's like you kind of have to like do something different, you know, and bring it in there. And so it's like kind of crucial now because everything's just getting so.
We have a song on the album that is great. He wrote that when we there's only like 3 songs we wrote at my house. Like the others, we all wrote separate, completely off the grid from each other. Not together. Like we send each other the ideas and then we all put them together. Florida, Belgium, and here. But there's this one song that I always loved because when he first started playing the riff, it was like a Pennywise riff, like a pop punk riff. And And I was like, that's so awesome. And it just came, you know. But if you were somebody else, you know, you might go, oh, that's not going to work. It's not metal enough. But when you hear that song, I'm not going to say what song it is because no one's going to know that that's what that is because it's hidden in there. But that song would not sound that way unless he had a different influence from something else, you know. So.
It's across the board for me, to be honest with you. I mean, like I said, I'll always reference the old school, you know, Megadeth, Slayer, Pantera stuff, because that was really huge for me. I mean, between that and Metallica, like all the old school thrash metal stuff is what I really grew up with. So a combination of that and a lot of blues stuff. B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan for me. That's Al Di Meola's another extremely good, you know, jazz player that I mean I get a lot of influence as well from. So
same. I mean, I went through the big four, you know, kind of thing, and then gateway to things like in Finland, the black metal stuff, and you know, in Scandinavia there was so many. In the '90s, it was a big boom, you know, of black metal and melodic death metal, and yeah. But I still always listen to different shit, you know, just because I'm not retarded, you know.
I mean, as far as metal goes, I mean, a lot of stuff. Just In Flames is my favorite band. Got me into metal, opened the door for me.
Yep. Definitely.
I'd say In Flames, At the Gates, Dimebag, Eddie Van Halen. Like a lot of 80s lead players just have a lot of emotion and style and personality that's missing a lot in metal nowadays. You know, it's all just about computer sounding solos and sweeping and stuff like that. And it's you know, I think it's a lot more challenging just to make your guitar sound like it's talking instead of you know making it sound like a machine precise. I mean,
CJ has the greatest iTunes playlist ever. It'll go from fucking Cyclone to fucking Biggie Smalls in 2 seconds flat. And it's just hilarious. We'll sit there when he's at my house, we'll sit there and we'll drink on the porch, and I'm just waiting for the next epic song to come on. What is it going to be?
Put it on shuffle, and it's pretty.
Is it going to be black metal, or is it going to be I don't know, something crazy?
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, for me, I mean, the Swedish and Scandinavian scene in general is definitely, I mean, overall, as far as our style of music, is definitely much more geared towards that sound. I mean, In Flames and Dark Trade Cody are good examples of, you know, combining, the Scandinavian, you know, folk sound with metal and, you know, combining those genres. And we kind of want to do the same to where, you know, we have these influences from all these different types of, you know, bands and style of music to really bring something different to the table to where it doesn't sound like, you know, you play us and it's oh, you guys sound like this, you guys sound like this.
Yeah.
It's you listen to it, it's all right, this is definitely something new, something different. Yeah.
Some bands out there, they use a gimmick, and to be a woman,
it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick for some bands, and for some it isn't. For RJ, it's definitely not a gimmick. She whoops ass.
She does.
And I actually
he's in a band with a girl. It's a guitar player. She's amazing.
She's a lead guitar player that plays guitar in this Iron Maiden tribute band called Iron Maiden. She's a ridiculous player, and first band I've been with a chick, and she's killer.
It depends on how
depends.
The woman uses it. If she wants to,
you can
go on stage with her tits out, and you know that's what they want to do to get the attention. Okay, it's not going to be about your music then, you know. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to be extremely lucky to have a career, because eventually it's going to go away, you know. And that was your 15 minutes of fame, and okay, great, you know. Was that it? Was that worth it? You know.
Everyone's good.
So yeah, that was.
It's. I guess for me, it depends on as far as, you know, I mean, vocalists and metal. I mean, it's all over the board too. I mean, like you said, you can either use your image or you can really use your voice and you know your passion for the music. So you got bands like Arch Enemy, or you got bands like, you know, Nightwish, to where it's obviously a completely different style of singing.
Our boys and girls in Amaranth.
Yeah, Amaranth. There's a great example.
Another great example, absolutely.
But they're so Amaranth, for example, is a credible band with all the people in it and the shit that they've done even before Amaranth. I mean, there's no hiding, you know, that they're talented people, all of them, you know. And then I think the only other stuff, it's there's certain credible musicians that are women and there's not, like Kathleen Hanna from Lady Tigra, for instance. I like Bikini Cool. I think they're an interesting band. She has a lot of fucking serious points, and she'd probably fucking hate our band, and she'd probably hate me as a person. But I think she's a badass bitch. She doesn't give a fuck about what you think or anything. You know, she's gonna just do what she wants. So, yeah, that's it. Facebook/Meridian Dawn. I know we have a MySpace. We haven't really touched that yet. We have a Twitter that's active. But yeah, the Facebook is like the one thing that we post all kinds of stuff on there, the videos, everything. Just look up
We have a
Meridian
YouTube
Dawn.
channel on Facebook.
YouTube,
the
yeah.
most, prominent ones. So.
For like, we've been posting a lot of videos lately, but we have a SoundCloud, but we like the videos a lot. It's fun. All right, guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.